McDonald's is one of the most successful businesses in the world because they have a system in place, right? The burger guy puts the burger together in such a way, and it sits on the heat rack for only so much time before someone at the front punches it in, and it's all systemized, right? So they can hire kids to do it at $10 an hour, and it just gets done. That's how that business became so freaking successful. UPS and Purelator are successful because they have business systems in place, right? And every other successful company out there, it's all about the systems.
And the branding.
Well, absolutely.
Branding is important.
That's right.
But without the systems, your branding is pointless.
And that's exactly
No.
right. Josh and I need to be able to replicate what we do. We need to do whatever it is we do for customer A with customer B, customer C, D, and F. And by the way, when we come back around to customer A again, is we need to duplicate whatever it is we decide that we are as a company for system A, so that it's not a completely different experience. Because if they like us for whatever that reason is that they like us, and we come back around full circle a month later or 3 months later, and we give them a different experience, if that experience is better or worse, who are these guys? Why am I getting a different experience now? Big part of the branding, big part of the system is consistency. If you went to McDonald's and you ordered a Big Mac, you get a Big Mac and it doesn't look like what it looks like on the menu or on the commercials, or maybe it does one day and the next day you go back and you get another one and it looks completely different. Maybe the packaging is different, maybe the person treated you differently, maybe it's cold, versus if it was the same burger in the same packaging, delivered the same way, the same consistency. Every time you went there and got your burger, you would keep going back. You go back and you go back and you go back because you know exactly what you're going to get. That's how successful businesses are built. That's what we're doing here. Building a business, we're building systems, we're building branding, we're building consistency.
Yeah, that's good. I totally agree. Consistency is huge. I mean,
And-
another thing, when you're talking about consistency, when customer service, was it, you dropped the ball, we don't feel like you're giving us enough attention like you did from the beginning of this relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think as we're starting out, as we're building this consistency, and people will leave from the start of a relationship with a client.
We are building this stuff out. We got to get to a point where it's feeling good, it's looking good, and everything's firing on 8 cylinders. Right now, we're still trying to figure out who we are and what we're doing. Our unique selling proposition, our tools, what it is we're selling, our service offerings, who we're selling it to, where we know exactly who we are and what we're doing and who we're doing it for.
Being that chief technical officer and putting the personality piece out there, that to me speaks the most as far as value goes. I mean, people pay for stuff all the time, but one thing that you don't always get when you purchase something nowadays is good service.
So true. I mean, you can get a hamburger anywhere in Calgary, like at a restaurant. Sometimes you go to that restaurant where you're just going to get good service and it's just going to be pleasant, rather than go to like a chaotic burger lounge, where the service sucks.
So
Right.
when I go to a place and I get terrible service or someone treats me like an idiot, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll never come back here again. So I think
Yeah.
that, same things apply. And I think that there's a lot of IT companies out there that they're kind of neutral. They don't get in touch with you as much. Like, they don't have that personal sense. I'm guessing Geek Squad's probably like that. Like, they probably only do what they need to do and, talk to you respectfully, but it's probably not the nicest or the friendliest. There's also a lot of IT people out there that as soon as you call them, they hate the fact that you're asking them to do their own job.
Yeah.
So I think that that's the biggest piece that separates us.
Personality is hard to replicate. Certainly we can strive towards personality. I think the overlying theme to this meeting is systems have to be in place. So we can put our systems in place, but then accelerate it, giving it maybe that personality behind it. So those two things kind of can come together. More to that, I'm still on point with trying to offer a set solution. I've been talking about here, you're going to get this backup solution when we come in, you're going to get this file sharing solution when we come in, and you're going to get this endpoint solution when we come in, and a lease computer system. And then in conjunction with a critical piece is this under promise, over deliver. So now we're going to also do a weekly meeting, we're going to do a quarterly meeting. We just need to have a list, an overwhelming list of value, so that, or want to purchase something, and it doesn't matter, everybody buys. Whenever you go and buy something, you're evaluating the worth of that hamburger. Is that hamburger worth $5, or is it worth the $7, or is it worth $10? Right? Like what's your value? How much do you want to spend? This is the calculation you're making in your mind whenever you go and buy something. Value versus the cost of it. So we want to over deliver on the value versus the cost. I'm trying to still figure out what the cost of it is. I'm kind of zeroing in on that $100 mark. I think at a bare minimum. I'd love to get more. All my colleagues say they're getting $150. So if we start off with the lower price, we over deliver. I mean, everybody's cautious at the beginning. They don't trust you. They don't know who you are. They're skeptical. They're doing this valuation, and they don't know what they're valuating. Like, what is IT services really worth? They just don't know. So these are all the things that I think about. It's trying to catch that fish with that hook to start with. What is the hook? And along with that, what is our message? And who are we?
What about the lure consultation or consulting?
Well, I've actually come back around full circle on the consulting thing. I used to say, well, consulting, like everybody calls themselves as a consultant. What does that really mean? The real true meaning of it is a respect. It's like a CEO or a president doesn't want some geeky tech guy coming in telling him he's going to install antivirus. And if you position yourself as a consultant, you're more on the level of a CEO/president. They have respect for that word. Security is one that we've hit on. So we're going to consult on security. This is what you need to become a more secure environment. Being more productive. CEOs and presidents, they really want to know how they could save money. Everybody sees IT as a cost center. But without IT, how do you do business?
You really don't nowadays.
You can't. But how do you be more productive? Because now you need IT, everybody's on IT, that's great. It breaks once in a while, okay, you can get someone to come and fix it. But how productive is it? Especially with internet, especially with cell phones. You've got employees that are, maybe you guys do this too, I know I do it once in a while. I go on, I'm not a big Facebook person, but I love going on CNN once in a while, and then I got lost in videos, right? And I'm the head guy, so everybody does it on Facebook all day long. It's crazy. So if you've got people that are doing that at work, but you're paying them to do a job, how do you reconcile that? How can we as technology providers help a president or a CEO control costs in that way, right? I think it's very easy to do, but that's a consulting role that we can come in and play. There's a lot of other things that we can focus on. Those are two. If we can show that we're professional and experts in what we do, again, focusing on just a few solutions I think is easier than supporting a number of options. Like you go to Best Buy and they've got a shelf full of antivirus software. There's probably 12 vendors on there.
Mm-hmm.
So customer picks up antivirus software, any one of them, and goes to Tech Squad and says install this.
Mm-hmm.
So now Tech Squad, because they're part of Best Buy, they have to know how to install 12 different antivirus solutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they experts on all those? There's not a chance. So if we focus on one, not only do we need to install it, because anybody can install it, but we become an expert on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is how you should set this up. This is the optimal setting. Here's maybe 3 options for policy. If you want to lock out your guys, give them an hour to work through the day, or just lock them out so they only have access at lunch to, Facebook or whatever. But we become experts in our tools.
So let's say a low level consulting place or level or example, if someone was like, well, what's the best, then we could just simply say, well, we use this.
Yeah. Well,
and this is why we use this.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could say, look, we've visited a number of applications out there, and
we don't bother with them.
There's some good ones out there, and there's some bad ones out there.
We use
This is the one we focus on. We focus on it for these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's one of the best. We think it's one of the easiest. Not only that, but it's the price point is good. You know, the company itself is awesome to support because just like you guys need support from us, we need support from them.
Mm-hmm.
All these things, right?
I just wanted to like add to your unique selling proposition. I think we could put more time into that newsletter, for example, on the tech tip, and making them pieces that are so informative to people and so up to date that people can't wait to read it because they know when they read it, either the newsletter or the tech tip, that it's going to make their life easier in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's huge. Like, you just, like, honestly, Josh, I worked with lots of IT companies, and they don't have the marketing that we have. Like, those two elements are huge. And our, that kit that we give people, that's another marketing piece that is a unique thing that other companies don't have. A lot of Calgary IT companies don't have that shock and awe package that they're giving to people with that chocolate on top, right? Like, we're trying to like let them know we care from the beginning, and that's another unique selling proposition.
Yeah. You know, speaking of the shock and awe, we should actually add our solutions into that shock and awe.
Totally, like that's a great way to advertise your solution.
Here's what we do. We do this, we do that.
Right. Yeah, like I really think we could really work on marketing like those two elements, the newsletter and the tech tip, articles and interesting, up-to-date things that are useful to people. Like, they're going to want your newsletter, you know?
Yeah.
That can really be worked on.
Absolutely. That's another piece that adds value, right? That other companies aren't doing. So over-promising, under-delivering, and adding value, and being consistent. They're going to expect it.
Right. Like, it should be right up front when you talk to your client that you're onboarding is, oh yeah, by the way, I've got these two people getting the newsletter or this manager getting the newsletter, like telling them right away that they're going to get this newsletter once a month, and this newsletter is like full of things that are going to help you and your business become more productive. You know, so they know right off the bat they're getting it, and I can put them on the email list.
Exactly. And again, another reminder that we're there and that we're doing our job. When it comes time, when their buddies asking them what computer company they use, they remember us right away, and then the referral network starts to build. You know,
Exactly.
a lot of these companies are built on referral networks, right? So once we get this
Yeah.
ball rolling down the hill, it's just gonna grow and grow and grow.
Oh, totally. And another like little small piece of that newsletter that gets so dismissed but is so important as like trying to like define yourself with Black Box Connections is, you know, that little contest on each newsletter. Like, if people actually knew about it, they'd be like, I can't wait till Black Box Connections newsletter comes out because I could win like a $50 card to like Starbucks or whatever, right? Like, it's involving them, it's making a connection like
Yeah.
with your client, right?
Exactly.
But you know that in your shock and awe, there's that piece, it's like 10 most valuable tech tips. It's like, remember you were like, oh, this is really useful. Like, that, just that list there, that type of useful information should be all over your newsletter.
Right.
Because, you know, every month websites are coming out, like with Sophos and whatnot, with the latest, greatest thing to make you more productive, you more secure. You know, I think it's understated, that whole newsletter right now. Like, it needs to evolve to be way more.
You know, and people charge for newsletters, right? And so this is, again, another part with under-promising, over-delivering, and adding to the value. What do we get for $100 per unit per month, right? You get this. If our list is so exhaustive, I mean, this is another item to add to the list. It's a big one in terms of production. It becomes a line item on the list, but the more line items we have on a list adds to that value. Again, people are weighing, wow, look at how much I'm getting for the cost that I'm paying, right?
Right.
And it does work.
Right.
And so if we can make people see that point, not just once a year, all the time, and not just all the time, but before they even decide to engage us, because at some point they need to make that decision to engage us. People are constantly making that decision, what am I paying for? So if we can show them in our marketing what they're paying for, they're going to engage us. And then they get that
Yeah.
consistency where we're always delivering it. These are all things learned along the way. Now it's a matter of building a system so that it's automatic.
Yes.
It's automatic and it's fulfilling and everybody's satisfied, right? Right from day one.
Right.
Okay, well that's pretty good meeting. I think I kept you long enough.
Oh, of course.
Thanks for sticking around.